This is a motion to suppress. Let's ask if there are stipulations. Number one, was this a warrantless arrest?
Your Honor, the state is willing to stipulate that it was a warrantless arrest.
We have no objection with that, Your Honor.
B, was this conducted in Bear County?
We have no objection to Bear County, Your Honor.
Was it conducted or executed by a licensed peace officer?
No objection to that, Judge.
Was it conducted by a peace officer in a marked vehicle?
No objection to that.
Is the peace officer an employee of San Antonio Police Department?
One of the police officers is, Your Honor. The other is an employee of the San Antonio Independent School District Police Department. So we have two officers, my understanding, Harvey, Your Honor, the last name Harvey, who you can see on your screen. He is a proud member of the San Antonio Independent School District. And we'll stipulate that he is a law enforcement officer working for that department.
All right. And who's the second one?
It is William Casberg. He is a licensed officer working for the San Antonio Police Department.
And how do you spell his last name?
Kasberg.
And Your Honor, I just sent him a text. He said he's trying to get on Zoom now.
All right. And the date of the event?
11/15 of 2020, Your Honor.
11/15/2020. Are there any other stipulations that both sides can agree on?
Not that I can think of, Your Honor.
Not
All right.
that I can think of, Judge.
Since it is a warrantless arrest, the burden switches to the state. State, call your witness.
Your Honor, at this time, state calls SAISD Police Department Officer Harvey.
And is that Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Officer Harvey,
Yes, sir.
would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You may proceed, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Harvey, are you currently employed with San Antonio ISD Police Department?
Yes,
What is your position there?
I'm a police officer. I'm a patrolman.
Licensed peace officer
Right,
in the state of Texas?
in the state of Texas.
And what did you have to do to become a licensed peace officer in the state of Texas?
You have to pass all their certifications and tests and that are authorized by the state.
How long have you been a licensed peace officer in the state of Texas?
29 years.
And has all 29 of those years been spent with SAISD?
Yes.
And what are your duties with SAISD PD?
I am currently a patrolman. I work on the late shift, the C shift, as we call it. That would be from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And we patrol throughout the city, in between schools, whenever, throughout the night. My particular shift.
And were you working on November 15th, 2020
I was.
in the patrol capacity?
I was.
And a little bit after 1 a.m., did you?
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to invoke the rule.
All right, sir. Anyone who is going to testify, identify yourself, please. We have Officer Harvey who's on the stand. Anybody else that's going to be a witness?
Hi, my name is Richard Stewart.
Richard Stewart,
Yes, sir.
All right.
He's
And
gonna be
how-
a potential defense witness, Your Honor.
STUART or STEWART?
STEWART.
All right. Anyone else is going to be a witness or a potential witness?
Your Honor, I believe Officer Kasberg is, but he's muted.
Where is he at?
I think it's a Zoom user. And Your Honor, I'd like to put on the record now, I was going to do it when I called him. Officer Kasberg is currently on his way back home from Illinois. He made himself available for today's hearing, but he is not in uniform, and he wanted me to explain why.
All right. I have not heard him identify himself.
He's still muted.
I'm still waiting. There's a Mr.
Judge, he just
Stewart.
unmuted me. Can you hear me, Judge?
Now I can hear you now. All right.
Very well.
Mr. Stewart and Mr. Kasberg, please raise your right hands. Do each of you solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So help me God. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Put your hands down. Now, the rule of witnesses has been invoked. That means that neither one of you can discuss your testimony or anyone else's in this matter or facts or information concerning this case with anyone other than the attorneys in this case. Is that understood, Mr. Stewart?
Understood.
Mr. Kasberg?
Absolutely, sir.
Very good. All right. Then at this time, I will ask you to remove yourselves from this hearing until you are contacted by the appropriate attorneys for your testimony.
Judge, can
Ma'am,
I put them in a breakout room?
that will be fine. You'll be placed in a breakout room so that you cannot see or hear any of the proceedings until you're called to testify. All right. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, gentlemen. Ms. Haas, you may proceed. Hold on
Thank
a
you,
second,
Your
though.
Honor.
So, let's see, everybody, yes, they are now.
Your Honor,
Yes,
Your Honor, Attorney Carolyn Wetland is on. I did not get a chance to call her during lunch. They were working on my computer.
okay. Ms. Wendland,
Hi, Judge. Oh,
for whatever the reason, we're not having, we are in the process of a hearing. We will not have a hearing on your case today.
okay.
All righty, so you and your client are released. I didn't even know that you were on for today. But thank you for your patience and your usual professionalism.
Okay, Judge, I'll just get with Patty. Thank you. You guys have a good day.
You too. All right. Ms. Haas, Ms. Pollard, you might continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I think I asked this, but were you working on November 15th, 2020?
Yes,
And a little after 1 a.m., did you conduct a traffic stop?
yes.
For what offense?
The person was traveling in the wrong lane of travel.
And where did you make this traffic stop?
At Josephine and Avenue A, I believe it is.
Did you make contact with the driver of that vehicle?
I did.
Did you identify that driver?
I did.
Who did you identify the driver to be?
The driver is Laura Lee Yen.
Your Honor, at this
Please,
time, I'm gonna object if he's reading from a document. He can refresh his memory, but not read from it.
Laura,
That
yep.
is, excuse me, sir. Anytime the objection is made, you have to wait until I make a ruling.
Yes, sir.
The objection is sustained. You can make reference to documents that you may have at your behest, but you can't read directly from them.
Okay.
It's an interesting part of the rules. So you can look over and find out, and then you yourself speak out, but you can't be reading, okay?
Okay, yes, sir.
All right, so Objection sustained. You may go ahead, Ms. Haas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Who did you identify the driver to be?
Laura Lee.
And do you see her present in this Zoom hearing today?
I saw her earlier. I don't see her right now.
There might be another page of,
Yes.
can you identify an article of clothing she's wearing or what she looks like?
She appears to be wearing a dark colored blazer with her hair pulled back in a bun.
And do you recognize her from the traffic stop you made that night?
I do.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
I always get a kick out of that question. The testimony is already of record that he has identified her. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. When you made contact with the defendant, what were your initial observations of her?
My observation was I was stopped at the light and she pulled up along the left side of my marked patrol unit and to oncoming traffic. And I was concerned that the oncoming traffic was she was gonna continue on into oncoming traffic.
Okay, and when you were talking to her, what were your observations of her?
I didn't know if they were clearly understanding my instructions and directions.
So at that time, did you pull her over?
I did.
And did you approach the vehicle and speak to her at that
I did.
point?
I did.
And when you spoke with her, did you observe anything about her?
I detected the distinct scent of alcohol coming from her as she spoke.
Did you ask her if she'd been drinking that night?
I don't recall.
Okay. And while you were on scene, did any officers from San Antonio Police Department show up?
Yes.
And at some point, did an SAPD officer begin a DWI investigation?
Yes.
And once SAPD showed up, was that the end of your involvement at the scene?
Yes, other than the complaint witness.
Your Honor, pass the witness.
Mr. Del Cueto.
May I proceed, Judge? Your Honor, Patty, will you enable the share screen, please?
I did. It's under multiple participants.
Okay. Where's two? There has to be a third. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay. Can you see it? Am I sharing the screen? Hello?
I can see it, Andrew.
Andrew, this is, and for the record, this is Jason Todd. It looks like it's Judge Longoria's screen that's sharing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know how to share the screen I need. I need to share screen 2. I'm showing it says.
And then open up your document over here. The one you're gonna
Can you see that?
No, drag that document, the IDR, back over to here.
That's how it's gonna have to be?
Yep.
Okay. Just give me a second, Judge. I know how to do it.
No problem. With the morning we had with our computers, it
This
was
is
a riot.
nothing, huh? Please, please, please excuse the mess on my computer.
Just make it full screen.
Okay. Officer Harvey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you said that you've been working for the school district for 29 years.
Mm-hmm.
On what day was the date of the offense?
11/15/2020.
So was school already on break on 11/15 of 2020?
I don't recall.
Okay, and you were patrolling what area of town during that? What was your sector at that time on 11/15/2020?
I was in the area, I believe, going to another call.
What was the other call you were going to?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't recall.
What did you do before you were a police officer?
Before I was a police officer, I worked at Sears.
Okay. Have you seen plenty of intoxicated people in your lifetime?
I have.
And you know the legal definition according to 4901 of the Penal Code?
I do.
Okay. Were you on your way to Hawthorne Elementary School by any chance?
I may have been. I don't recall exactly which one I was going to.
And when you call in, like when you stopped, you call in?
I'm sorry?
When you stop somebody,
Uh-huh.
do you call in to dispatch?
Yes.
At what time did you call in to dispatch?
I'd have to refer to the report.
What report are you referring to?
I wrote a report that we are, for our records, we write a report.
Judge, under Texas Rules of Evidence 612, I would like a copy of his report.
State you're ordered to produce a copy of the report to which the officer is referring, by which he is refreshing his memory under Rule 612.
Your Honor, I think the only report I have from Officer Harvey is the DIC 23 he filled out.
Well, apparently this report is more than that. You'll have to obtain it from Mr. Del Cueto.
May I proceed?
If you choose, Officer Harvey, do you understand what we're saying about your
Yes,
report?
sir. Yes, sir.
You must preserve it and make it available to the state, and they in turn will produce it to Mr. Del Cueto.
Yes, sir.
And then let me ask you this. Were you dispatched at 1:15? Did you call in dispatch at 1:15?
Again, I'd have to refer back to the dispatcher's records. I'm not
It's not in
exactly
your
sure.
report.
I'd have to look. I'm sorry.
Okay, you want to look at your report and see if you have a time?
The time on the report is 1:01:33.
Okay, well, that's the time that Officer Casberg showed up, but what time did you detain Laura Lee?
It had to be minutes before Officer Casberg arrived because, I mean, they arrived there really quickly. I mean, they were like right down the street, less than a mile down the street.
Okay, so when did you draft this report that I don't have a copy of?
It would have, we were issued anytime we make a call, we were issued a case number for that call.
I get that, but my specific question was, when did you draft the report that I do not have in my possession?
I would have to refer back to the dispatcher.
Okay. Let me play you something.
Sure.
Can you turn up your volume?
Me?
Mhm. Who's that?
I'm sorry, go again?
Okay, is your volume up?
Yes,
Yeah, I don't know, I called it back and it's not completed, so I don't know.
I know, it was, I don't know if it went through the first time, I thought twice before now.
One showed up and they never made it to the,
Oh, hey, what block is that of, those things that I give you?
you give me Avenue E and West Josephine.
Can you check and see what block that is?
I'm sure.
And, and then, what time is it?
One second. Come on.
And it was, 13, not 14.
You know what, you said Avenue E, right?
Avenue
A?
A, yeah. I think it was like 2,300 or something like that.
No, it wouldn't be, because Hawthorne's at 116 West Josephine.
Oh, okay.
That's all the 100 block of West Josephine.
So what?
That's the 100 block of West Josephine.
100 block. Okay, it should be right there by, what's that, Josephine Street Cafe?
Yeah.
That's right there in front of it.
And you're talking about, not just, is that called the 16th Street Steakhouse or?
So what?
Like Josephine Street Steakhouse or something.
Yeah, right there.
Hold on. That's the 400 block of East Josephine. 400 East Josephine, and yeah, that's it.
100,
400.
and then,
400 East Josephine.
okay. And then, can I have the time?
Okay, so that one, first license plate was,
Should have been right around the time you put that city call out.
I very long that, 117. So 115,
115?
yeah,
Okay.
because it took me a minute to get to the license plate record.
Mhm.
This is, yeah, the issue I'm having is because it's a New York plate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting anything back, but I can send a call in the morning. I did print up the 2 license
Yeah, I
deal.
don't think they were able to get the plate back either.
Okay, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Then I feel better. Because I pushed all the buttons.
I'm not sure what year that vehicle was.
So that was your dispatch, correct?
That's correct.
You were speaking to your dispatch. Is that a correct statement?
That's correct.
Okay, and for the record, Your Honor, I'm gonna label this as defense exhibit number 2. I will give the court reporter all my exhibits when I figure out how to give them to her. But the defense exhibit number 2 is his conversation with dispatch at the scene. So according to dispatch,
Wait. Okay, it's labeled as defense exhibit 2. Are you
Defense-
offering it into evidence or
I'm offering it into evidence, Judge.
the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, there's no objection. Defense exhibit 2 is admitted.
So you agree with me that you ran her license plate the first time at 1:15, at 1:17, so you pulled over at 1:50. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
And I want to be fair with you, Officer Harvey, before we continue. I mean, this offense occurred back in November of 2020. That's almost a year ago, correct?
Right.
And right now, and you've had, I'm sure, at least a dozen cases between then and now. Would you agree with that?
A dozen cases of what?
Just other criminal cases?
Oh, yes.
I mean, San Antonio Independent School District, I'm sure it's a mildly busy district, correct?
Yes, it is.
I mean, you've got a bunch of stuff going on, just like you would have at any other district, correct?
Right.
Except you patrol downtown. That is part of SAISD, correct?
Right.
Okay. So I'm not expecting your memory to be perfect. And if you want to correct things, please correct them as we go along the way. Like, for instance, you said that they showed up minutes after you pulled her over. So if you pulled her over at 1:15 and Casberg didn't show up until 1:33 or 1:34, that would be an incorrect statement, correct?
Well, I don't believe so. It was I don't know what time the
Okay, are you ready?
yeah, sure.
Let's just start off with this premise. Your memory was better about the incident on November the 15th of 2020 than it was later on whenever you wrote the report. Can you agree with that?
I'm not exactly sure.
When you're viewing the incident occur in front of your eyes, your memory is the best, correct?
Of course.
If you wait hours or days to write a report based on your memory, it's not as good as viewing the event, correct?
Well, in that particular segment of the audio that you had, that was that same day.
I understand that was the same day, but you don't know when you wrote the report.
I'd have to refer back to that. I can.
I'm just talking about common sense. If you wait hours or days, your memory is not as good as when you're viewing the event. I mean, common sense, right?
In some respects, yes.
Your Honor, Officer Casberg is somehow back in the hearing.
Sorry?
Officer Casberg is back in the hearing, and I know defense invoked the rule.
Okay, Mr. Casberg, why are you back in?
I don't know, sir. Zoom threw me back in, so I apologize. I have no, I'm just sitting here. I wish I was in control of anything. I have no control.
I need to share real quick one of my favorite expressions that I've used about 1,000 times. To err is human, forgive divine, but to really screw up, you need a computer.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, sir. And that's the reason they call them smart dumb phones. Yes, sir.
alrighty. So just Patricia.
If you could throw me out.
Yes, sir.
All right, put it back in breakout.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna repeat my question.
Hold on. All right, now you can.
When you're viewing an event, your memory is the freshest as the event is happening, correct?
I mean, in some instances, I do believe that to be true.
Usually, how about if I put it this way?
I mean, it's to me how significant the event is. You know, I mean, some events you can remember more accurately than others, I would believe.
More likely than not, your memory is better as you're viewing the event, correct?
Right.
I'm just trying to use common sense. I'm not trying to trick you, officer, at all.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Mhm.
If you wait hours or days to write the report, it may not be as good as what you remember viewing the events and all the details you viewed at the scene, correct?
I think I've answered that one
You
already,
didn't.
to the best of my knowledge.
No, you didn't.
I said in some instances, I believe that to be true.
And in most instances, do you believe that to be true?
I said, and that was my answer in some instances.
So you believe that in most instances, your memory gets better after the event?
No,
That's
I don't. I
testimony.
just,
Well, I'm just using your language. You said some, right? That means
some.
most. Okay, well then that means most are better after the event.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to asked and answered.
It hasn't been
All right,
answered.
what's the objection?
Asked and answered, Your Honor.
All right, I'll sustain that.
Okay, so then would you agree with me that your memory is now better almost a year later than from the date of the incident?
In this particular instance, no.
It's worse. Would you agree with that?
I don't know that it's worse, but it's not the same.
Well, let me give you an example. If they didn't show up right at 1:15, minutes after 1:15, then that would be incorrect testimony, correct?
Mm. I don't know that I agree with
Also-
it. Or you asked me if I agree with it. If you're asking me if I agree with it, I don't agree. Minutes are minutes. I said minutes.
Okay, well, how long did they show up after 1:15?
And I told you, I didn't recall exactly how many minutes, but
You said they were right there, minutes right
I
after.
said they were not too far down the street and it was minutes after the stop.
Like 5 minutes?
I'd have to refer back to the dispatcher and see what time it was.
But you don't remember today, almost a year later.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know,
I'm gonna-
I don't know, I called it back and it says not completed, I don't know.
I know, I don't know if it went through the first time, I called twice.
Sorry,
before
Judge.
now.
One showed up.
So I'm gonna show you defense exhibit number 3. It's an incident detail report.
Okay.
Can you see that?
No.
Can you see that?
No, it's just a blank screen.
Can you see it now?
No.
Can you see it now?
Okay, yes,
You see it's an incident detail report, right?
right.
The incident date is November the 15th, 2020, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
the time is 1:22, correct?
yes,
And Officer Casberg was the one that showed up, correct? William Casberg?
there were other units.
Okay. Well, Hernandez showed up, Palawick showed up, but for sure William Casberg showed up, correct?
Right. Those two officers were there before Casper.
Perfect. Okay. When did they first receive the phone call?
When did who first receive?
When did Hernandez and Palawick first receive the call from dispatch to go to the scene?
I don't know.
Look right here. Do you see that?
Yes,
At what time?
it's 1:23. Is that what it
Okay.
says?
Yep. So you pulled them over at 1:15 and they didn't even get a call to come out to the scene until 8 minutes later. Is that correct?
What happens is
I didn't
tell my
ask you what happened. I
Okay.
asked you,
okay, can I answer it?
let me ask it another way. Is that what the incident detail report says?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Is that what the incident detail report says?
That's not from my dispatcher. My dispatcher is the
I
one that
didn't ask
contacts.
that. I didn't
Okay,
ask
well,
that.
my dispatcher is the.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
he's not answering the question, Judge. I'm asking a specific question. Will you please instruct the witness to answer the question asked of him?
The witness will answer the question asked.
Okay,
Does the incident detail report say that they got a first call to come out to the scene at 1:23:03?
yes,
And does the incident detail report say that they started en route to the scene at basically 1:28 a.m.?
it says 127:56.
I said basically 1:28. Really? You're going to argue over 4 seconds?
Sir, I'm just trying to answer your questions as best
Okay.
as I can.
I'll be more specific. Does the incident detail report say that they started en route on 1:27:56 to the location?
Yes,
Okay. And that would be how many minutes after you pulled over Miss Lee?
how many minutes after I pull over Miss Lee? 10,
15.
15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes?
Okay. Okay. It would be about 13 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Casberg is dispatched according to the IDR at 1:32:09, correct?
Yes,
He doesn't arrive at the scene until 1:33:54 or almost 1:34, correct?
yes.
You pulled over at 1:15. He basically arrives at 1:34. How many minutes later did Officer Casberg arrive?
About 15 minutes?
19 minutes. 19
Okay.
minutes. Would you agree with that?
Yes,
Okay. So you had Laura Lee at the scene for at least 13 minutes detained without another officer arriving, correct?
no, because the other two officers arrived first.
Okay, I'm showing you the other two officers. Officer Hernandez arrives at
And we
1:27:56,
said that.
and Officer Palawek arrives at 1:27:57.
Mhm.
You pull over at 1:15. When you pull over, she's detained, correct?
Yes,
She's not free to leave, correct?
right.
And then these officers show up 13 minutes later, correct?
Yes,
So you had her detained for 13 minutes before the first officer showed up, correct?
yes,
Perfect.
yes.
At this point, I'd like to introduce defense exhibit number 3, which is the incident detail report.
No objection.
There being no objection, defense exhibit 3 is admitted.
Okay. And then you said specifically that I think your exact words were a distinct odor of alcohol, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you really remember a pungent odor of alcohol.
Yes, it's really significant.
It was very significant, correct? So significant that you would have told these 3 officers about how pungent that smell of alcohol was, correct?
If you ask me if I know what the scent of alcohol smells like,
I didn't ask that at all. I said
Okay.
that the smell was so significant, so pungent,
Mhm.
that you would have told these 3 officers that there was a distinct pungent odor of alcohol when they arrived at the scene, correct?
I don't remember telling them that.
Well, that's because you didn't. I'm gonna show you. Can you see what's on your screen?
Yeah.
What do you say right here about her odor of alcohol?
The faint scent coming from the driver.
Wasn't a strong odor, correct?
Right.
Wasn't a distinct odor, correct?
Okay. Okay. Well,
I'm just asking.
I mean, I just,
Did
it
you
de-
write down distinct odor?
it is distinct. Even if it's faint, it's still distinct. You know what it is.
At one time, were you not sure that it was alcohol?
No.
That's
Like I
a
said,
question. Answer the question. At
the
one time, were you unsure that it was alcohol?
the faint scent is alcohol.
One more time. At one time,
Distinct means what it is, you know? I mean, it's not like
okay.
I'm
finished
saying
with
it
that
wasn't
question.
alcohol.
Let's move on. Are you
Okay,
ready, Officer
sure.
Harvey? I want you to listen real carefully.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay. At one point of the evening, did you tell the officers you were unsure if it was alcohol or not?
I don't recall.
Okay. But you recall this DIC 23, and you recall specifically that you said faint scent of alcohol.
Yes.
And you at least spent 8 minutes with her before the other officers arrived.
Yes.
And you got her driver's license, correct?
Yes.
You told her why you pulled her over, correct?
Yes.
She gave you an explanation, correct?
No, she I'd have to, I'm sorry, I'd have to.
She said that she thought she was in the turn lane, correct? Does that sound familiar?
Well, not really, because she was arguing that she wasn't into the oncoming traffic.
Okay, perfect. But on your DIC 23, you didn't say distinct, you said faint, correct?
Yes.
Judge, at this time, I'd like to introduce defense exhibit number 6, which is the DIC 23 written by Officer Hart.
No objection.
Want to number that or label that besides DIC 26?
It's defense exhibit number 6, Your Honor.
All right, defense exhibit 6 is admitted.
Okay, can you turn up your volume, please, Officer Harvey?
Yes, it's up at its max.
Is that the scene?
I'm not seeing anything.
Is that the scene?
Yes.
Okay. Is that you?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the first officer who arrives. This is body worn camera. There's no other cars right now at the scene. Oh, this one just arrived. Okay. Let's see what you say about the odor of intoxicants. Are you ready?
Sure.
Hello. What's going on? How you doing? Good, how are you? Good. This is what about this side. This is the outfit, like this side. Okay, still going. On 21? No, I'm right here, from the access. Oh, she's on the street down this way. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What we'll do, we're gonna do the everything from the comfort email. Since you made the stop, they may just have you guys a little statement of what you saw. Okay. So,
You said, I'm not sure. Do you remember saying that?
I do. I'm seeing it.
You said, did you smell anything? He asked you, did you smell anything? And you said, I'm not sure.
Right.
So before it was a distinct odor of intoxication, but 1 minute and 54 seconds, Officer Hernandez arrives, you say you're not sure if it was an odor of intoxication. Would you agree with that, or you want me to replay it?
No, that's fine.
Do you believe me that that's what you said? I mean, they're not my words.
I said at that point that I was not sure. Is that what you want me to say?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Okay.
So remember, you pulled over at 1:15.
Mhm.
It is now, according to this, 1:28, 13 minutes later, almost
Right.
14 minutes later. You have spent at least 8 minutes with her, talking to her, getting her driver's license, her arguing with you that she's not going the wrong way.
That's
And
not
you
true,
know-
sir.
You weren't with her 8 minutes.
I was with her 8 minutes, but I was not talking to her the whole time.
Okay.
I
She
got her
talked-
I got her identification. I went back to my vehicle and contacted the dispatcher and advised I had
Okay.
stopped her.
Fair enough. But you talked to her for a period of time.
As you saw, I was getting out
I'm
of my
gonna
car.
ask you one more time. You talked to her for a period of time.
I got her identification and I returned to my
Officer
vehicle.
Harvey, I'm gonna ask you again. You talked to her for a period of time.
Okay, a period of time, yes.
Perfect. And were you like 10 feet away from her? Were you screaming at each other when you talked to her?
No,
You were close to her, correct?
I was in hand's reach.
You were within arm's reach, about less than 3 feet. My arms may be shorter than yours.
Yes,
Okay. And you went back and you ran her and you waited. And when they showed up at 1:54, 18 minutes later, when they're talking to you, you're unsure if you smell alcohol or not. Correct?
yes,
So officer arrives, he says hello, you say hi. Hi, sir, what's going on? How's it going? Good, how are you? Good, good, good. They were coming down this road on this side. I was standing there like this side, and she was coming from this side and still going.
Mhm.
And then you hand them the driver's license.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. The defense attorney is testifying.
I'm not testifying. Are those all correct statements from this video?
On the objection is overruled.
And then Officer Hernandez asks you, basically, were they on 281? And you respond, no. From right here, talking about the access road. She was on the access coming straight down this way. And then Officer Hernandez says, okay, well, what we'll do, we'll get a DWI officer out here for evaluation. Since you made the stop, they may have to write a little statement of what you saw. And you respond, okay. And then he says at 1:50, so did she smell like it? Meaning alcohol. You would agree with that statement. He said that, correct? To you. That was a question to you, correct?
yes.
And you responded a little. I'm not sure though. And the passenger does not have identification and I haven't ID'd her yet. Correct?
Yes.
Judge, I'd like to introduce defense exhibit number 4, which is Officer Hernandez's body camera into evidence.
State,
Your Honor, I'm going to object to improper foundation. This isn't Officer Harvey's body camera. He can't testify as to whether or not it was working right or anything like that.
response, Mr. Del Cueto.
Under Rule 101, Your Honor, the rules of evidence do not apply. That's why we can depend on hearsay according to the Ford decision.
Overruled.
Okay,
Defense Exhibit 4 is admitted for this meeting or this hearing.
and then I would like to show Officer Harvey defense exhibit number 5, which is the exact transcript of what we went over. Can you please? Can you please look at defense exhibit number 5 and tell me, is that a correct transcription of the video? you want me to make it bigger, officer?
No, I'm fine. Okay.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to introduce Defense Exhibit number 5, which is an excerpt of part of the video that we just introduced.
No objection.
There being no objection, Defense Exhibit 5 is admitted.
Okay. Now, you say that you see her driving up on you, correct?
Yes.
You're on East Josephine westbound, correct?
Yes.
And as she approaches you, you don't notice that she's swerving, do you?
I did not.
You don't remember that anything about her drifting, do you?
I did not.
When you asked her to roll down her window, she didn't have any problems with that command, did she?
No.
In any portion of your DIC 23, or even in the video that we're about to watch, or even in the report that I don't have in front of you, you don't mention a single time slurred speech, do you?
Not that I recall.
Well, in fact, and we'll listen to it a little bit, her speech was clear. It wasn't fair, it was clear. She was very articulable. Do you agree with that? Or very articulate, I apologize. Do you agree with that?
Not exactly, sir.
You don't remember or you disagree?
I disagree.
Okay, well then what about her speech was bad?
I just, like I said, it was more of, like I said, her being argumentative or whatever else. It wasn't like,
I'm not talking about what she
to
said.
where it was,
I'm talking about slurred speech.
okay.
I didn't ask you if she was argumentative or polite. I'm just asking you about slurred speech.
Or maybe her comprehension was failing. I'm not sure.
Either her speech was clear and articulate or it wasn't. Which one was it?
It was, okay, let's say clear.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
Okay.
She didn't have bloodshot eyes, did she?
Not to my recollection.
Okay. Now let's talk about how she responds to you. When you told her you were driving in the wrong lane, she's arguing with you, correct?
Yes.
So you've never pulled over anybody sober that argues with you?
No.
Never.
No.
You say you're speeding, you're like, there's no way. My car doesn't even go that fast. You've never had that.
No.
So you think that she was argumentative, and that's the only thing bad about what you remember about her.
I don't think it was bad. I was not pulling her over for DWI.
Okay. And then you found out that she's not a native of San Antonio, correct?
Right.
She's from New York.
Right.
Big difference, correct?
Absolutely.
She even told you she was there for work. She'd only been there 2 weeks. She'd only lived in San Antonio for 2 weeks. She told you that.
She told me she was staying at a friend's.
No, she told you she had been there for approximately 2 weeks in the city.
Okay, well, I'm telling you what I recall.
Okay, but we already established that sometimes you might have made some mistakes on your recollection, correct?
Right,
Okay. So when you initially saw her drive, the only thing you noticed is that she pulled up right beside you on the wrong side of the street.
Right.
Okay, so Josephine has a lane westbound and a lane eastbound, correct?
Right.
You were in the westbound lane at the light.
Right.
She was right next to you, adjacent to you in the next lane.
over,
In the next lane over, I don't
over
know.
into oncoming traffic.
There's only 2 lanes.
Yes, but she was over the side of that lane.
Okay, so she was in the lane,
And she was into oncoming traffic.
she was in the oncoming traffic or the lane right next to you.
She was into oncoming traffic is my answer, sir.
Okay, we'll go over that in a second.
Okay.
But at that point, you detained her for a traffic offense.
Uh-huh.
Only for a traffic offense.
Yes,
In fact, 13 minutes into the stop, you were still unsure that what you were smelling was an odor of intoxicants, correct?
yes,
Okay. At this point, you had no indication that she had consumed alcohol, correct?
I had a suspicion.
Whoa. Because she's driving the wrong way, that made you suspect.
No, and you said on the contact.
I'm not talking about the contact. I'm saying
Okay,
when you pulled her over, not that you contacted her, but just when you pulled her over,
Okay,
you had no idea that she had consumed alcohol, correct?
right,
Okay.
Correct.
So she rolls down her window. She has no trouble rolling down her window, correct?
correct.
And you say to her, "You're driving the wrong way," correct?
Yes,
And she says, "No, this is a turn lane." And you're like, "Pull over," correct?
no.
Okay, how'd it go?
She was over into oncoming traffic and her and the passenger began to be argumentative. As they began to be argumentative, there was no, previously, prior to that little confrontation happening there was no traffic. And then there was a car coming towards her in that lane of traffic. So I said, I better have them pull over so that this can be a safer conversation. And I pulled them over just for their safety so that
Stop.
the oncoming traffic, can I finish answering?
No, can I just want to, you can say it. I'm going to let you say that. I'm
Okay.
not going to exclude anything,
Okay.
but I just want to go step by step.
Okay.
You told her to pull over, correct?
Right. Mhm.
And she did what you asked her to do, correct?
Yes, she did.
Okay. She didn't attempt to flee, correct? Flee.
No,
She didn't attempt to flee. She just didn't stand there like a deer in headlights. She actually reacted, correct?
I'm not sure how quick her response was, if that's what you're asking me.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm asking you. Her response was normal, correct?
I don't recall what her response was as far as timeliness.
If you thought it was strange or unusual, you would have noted it in your report, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't note it in your report, correct?
Right. I
So
did
we can assume she had no problem with her response time,
Okay.
correct?
Yes.
So that means she wasn't slow to respond, correct?
Yes.
Okay. She didn't abruptly swerve, correct?
No, she pulled over in front of me.
And she even used her blinkers and she even parked with her parking lights, correct?
I don't recall that, sir.
We'll go over it. She didn't strike a curb or another object, did she?
No.
And still at this point, you're stopping Miss Lee for traffic violation. Correct?
Yes.
Would you agree with this statement? Stopping itself requires the driver simultaneously to turn the steering wheel, put on the brakes, use a turn signal, and so on. You would agree with that, correct?
Yes.
Thus, a driver's task becomes more complex when the stop command is given. That means when you turn on your lights, it becomes a more complex task, correct?
I don't know how that would be more complex.
Well, they have to worry about the officer behind them, and they have to worry about the road in front of them, correct?
Why would they have to worry about the?
Because your wigwags and your strobes are on, I guess. Did you pull over without lights?
No, I didn't. But I don't understand.
That's another.
I don't understand why that would be a driver concern though. But go ahead, yes, sir.
Does the task of become more complex or less complex when an officer commands you to pull over with strobes and wigwags? the task of driving?
If you're asking my personal opinion, it's no.
Okay, perfect. But she pulls over with no issue, correct?
Right.
She's not slow to respond to your emergency lights. She pulls over right in front of you and she controls her vehicle well, correct?
Yes.
She stops at a safe place in a safe manner, correct?
Yes.
You know, she argued with you, but all in all, she was polite and cooperative, correct?
I disagree with that.
Okay, well, we'll watch the video.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you have video that night?
I did not.
You would agree with me that she pulled over like a non-intoxicated individual, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now you have contact with her. You have face-to-face contact. Will you
Yes.
agree with that? You didn't notice slurred speech, did you?
No.
She was talking, her speech pattern was like that of a normal, non-intoxicated individual, correct?
I don't know if I agree with that.
What do you disagree with it?
What you just said was,
Well, was she slurring?
I mean, I wasn't deeming her intoxicated.
Well, I didn't say that you were deeming her intoxicated. I'm saying she was speaking like a normal, non-intoxicated individual.
A normal intoxicated. Okay.
Okay. She reacted timely to your questions, correct?
Yes.
In fact, you asked her for her driver's license. She had no trouble retrieving her driver's license.
Right.
She retrieved it quickly. She didn't fumble with it. She didn't drop it. She handed it to you, no problem.
She looked for it and then she gave it to me.
But she didn't have trouble finding it. She didn't give you a credit card instead of a driver's license. She had no, like I would have to look for a license or you would have to look for a license, correct?
Oh, it's in my wallet. I know where it's at.
Well, she knew where it was at too. It was in her wallet. And that's where she found it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything in your report that says that she had trouble finding or retrieving her her New York driver's license?
No.
If you would have found it odd, you would have put it in your report, correct?
Yes.
She wasn't hesitant in any way, was she?
No.
She was not confused by your questions, was she?
No.
She understood your questions and responded like a non-intoxicated individual, correct?
All of my questions were the request for her identification.
And she responded like a non-intoxicated individual, correct?
Yes.
She didn't have bloodshot eyes, correct?
I don't recall, sir.
If you would have seen bloodshot eyes, that would be an indicator of intoxication, correct?
Like I said, I don't recall, sir.
If you would have seen bloodshot eyes, that would have been an indicator of intoxication, correct?
If I would have seen it.
No. Are bloodshot eyes an indicator of intoxication?
Yes.
You knew eventually that you had a DWI stop, correct?
No, eventually.
Okay.
When the other officers arrived, that's when they started the intoxication
And eventually,
analysis.
you wrote a report, correct?
Yes.
And eventually you also did a DIC 23, correct?
I'm sorry?
Eventually you did a DIC 23, correct?
Yes.
And in your report and in the DIC 23, you never mentioned bloodshot eyes, do you?
Right.
And that's an indicator of intoxication, correct?
Right.
She wasn't wearing soiled clothing, was she?
What?
She wasn't wearing soiled or dirty clothing, was she?
No.
When she was looking for ID, she never passed over documents, did she?
She never what?
Passed over documents. Like she keeps passing over her ID, she just can't find it.
No.
Did she forget to produce anything that you asked of her?
Did she? I'm sorry, so you kind of breaking out.
Did she forget to produce anything that you asked of her?
No,
She never admitted to drinking with you, did she?
I didn't ask her about drinking.
Well, I didn't ask you if you asked her about drinking. I'm asking you, did she ever admit to you that she was drinking?
No,
She never made inconsistent or unusual statements, did she?
no,
She didn't use abusive language, did she?
I don't recall on that.
If she would have used a curse word, that's abusive language, correct?
I don't recall, sir.
I'm not asking if you recall. I'm saying a curse word is abusive, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Anywhere in your police report do you note that she used abusive language?
I don't recall that, sir.
Look at your police report. Anywhere in your police report do you note that she used abusive language?
I don't recall that, sir.
That's not my question. Did you put in your police report that she used?
Okay,
abusive
no, I
language?
didn't.
Okay, perfect. Did you put in the DIC 23 that she used abusive language?
No,
If she used abusive language, that would have stood out, correct?
I don't recall, sir. I mean, I really don't recall if she did or not.
Okay. But we can agree that people weren't even dispatched until 122 SAPD, correct?
Yes,
And so 13 minutes you're there with her and you don't notice any signs of intoxication at that point, correct?
sir. I was in the vehicle running the license plates and trying to get the other person identified by name and date of birth.
That's not my question. After 13 minutes at the scene, you saw no signs of intoxication, correct?
Almost the entirety of my contact was retrieving her identification and then
Judge,
returning to my vehicle.
Please advise the witness just to answer the question or we'll be here all day.
Sir, when you're asked a question, listen carefully to what the question is.
Yes, sir.
And I realize I've been on the stand myself, and I realize you want to explain or answer what you want to answer, but just simply listen carefully and answer only what you're asked, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
After 13 minutes of being on the scene, you didn't notice any signs of intoxication, correct?
Correct.
Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna go back to defense exhibit number 4. We're at 225.
Brianna Foster.
Okay,
She's
this
my
this
friend.
friend, okay,
Yeah, sure.
okay.
Yeah, for 2251, charge request for 1, citation for one.
Now you're familiar with the computer system that SAPD has, correct?
Somewhat, not very.
Just somewhat, whatever you know, but
Mhm.
they can check driver's license, warrant status. They can do all those things without even calling into dispatch, correct?
Yes,
And in fact, a little British lady will say, your incident has been updated with more information, correct?
yes. I don't know that. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. But he's typing into this computer system after retrieving.
So you're breaking out. I can.
He is typing into his computer system after you hand him Laura Lee's identification, correct?
Okay.
And that's her registration. Okay, so it's a long story.
I'll just fast forward a little bit. So not only did she hand you her driver's license, but vehicle registration as well, correct?
Yes,
And you realized that the car was insured, correct?
yes.
You said she was on the. Yeah. Oh, sure. Have you ever filled out a 23, Jesse 23? No? Okay. I have some, and it's basically saying that you observed her traveling on the eastbound lane. About- So, I have some forms if you could fill out, if you want, and, so he'll come and do, and do the rest of that, and, just needs that from me. Okay. Okay. How's it going? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
So at this time, that's Officer Casper, correct? That's the third person that shows up. Correct?
Yes,
They've already run her driver's license, insurance, and registration.
yes.
And still at this point, you feel that it's a regular traffic stop.
At this point, they've taken the stop.
I know, but you have no indicators at this point that it's a DWI, correct? You didn't even
At this
call.
point,
Go ahead.
that went, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
At this point, you had no indicators of intoxication, correct? From Miss Lee.
Right. Uh-huh.
And is it fair to say that Officer Hernandez had little to no contact with Miss Lee?
That's fair.
Okay. And you can't recall this full time if she had angry or unusual actions, correct? Correct?
Sir,
She didn't have any,
Sir?
she didn't have any,
I can, you're breaking out, sir.
she did not have any angry or unusual actions, correct?
I'm not sure about that, sir.
Did you write down in your police report that she was angry?
No,
Do you remember her being angry?
that's what I told you. I don't recall, sir. I already answered that.
Okay. Do you remember her having unusual reactions?
No,
Do you remember that she couldn't follow instructions?
no,
Do you remember her having trouble opening the door?
no,
Do you remember her leaving her car in gear?
no.
Do you remember her climbing out of her car? Like the Dukes of
Yes.
Hazzard?
Yes. No,
She-
I mean, no, I'm sorry, no.
Okay. Do you remember her leaning against her car for support?
I don't recall, sir.
Do you remember having her have to use her car to go to the back of her vehicle when she got out?
Again, I don't recall.
Do you remember anything else about her intoxication?
Other than the scent, no.
The faint scent that you weren't sure was alcohol or not, correct?
Right.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna show you Officer Powell's body worn camera.
Okay.
And I'm gonna scoot it up to 2 minutes for the record. Okay, Officer Hernandez instructs you to get the driver out, correct?
I'm not sure what's happening there.
You understand that she has her flashers on, correct? Before you didn't remember, but now you can say for sure she had her flashers on.
Okay, yes,
That's what a non-intoxicated person would more likely do when they're being pulled over, correct?
I don't know, sir. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, that's fine. Are you going to get her out of the car?
I'm not sure what I'm doing right there, sir.
Okay, well, I want you to have me stop the video when you see a sign of intoxication, please. Okay, while she's exiting her vehicle. Did you see any signs of intoxication?
No,
She walked normally, correct? She walked like a normal, non-intoxicated individual, correct?
that's the first time I've seen her walk, sir.
Well, I'm saying from this video, she walked like a normal, non-intoxicated individual, correct?
Is this an opinion?
Yeah. You want me to replay it? I'll ask it an easier way. She walked like a drunk person.
No,
She walked normal, correct?
no,
With a normal,
okay,
she walked with a normal gait, correct?
okay,
Like a non-intoxicated person would walk, correct?
yes.
Perfect. Now, you notice down here, it says what time?
2:04.
Okay, let's watch her. And can you please tell me if she is swaying or having to use objects for support, or even if there's any sign of intoxication as she stands there? Are you ready?
Sure.
You live in Southland. What? You like, She was here.
Traffic stop, so I know. Yes, so.
So at 2:56 in the Powellex video, he's still saying this is just a regular traffic stop, correct?
Who's saying that?
The officer who's filming this, correct?
I'm not sure what he's saying, sir.
Can you not hear it?
I'm not sure what he's saying, sir. I mean, I'm not,
I'm asking you, can you hear it?
no, I don't hear anything.
Do you like know what the issue is here?
Do you know what the issue is here? Did you hear that?
Yes,
Traffic stop, so I know.
It's a traffic stop, that's all I know. Did you
yes,
hear that?
right.
Okay, let me ask it again. At 2:53, according to this officer, it's still just a traffic stop, correct?
That's exactly what it was for me.
Well, I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying, according to what he's saying, that's exactly what it is for him as well.
Okay,
Now, let's keep watching her stand.
I know. He asked for color, so. They didn't have anyone available.
Let's be so confused.
I figured it all out.
We were at our program.
Yeah, live together or?
Yeah, we live in, well, we live in the same complex. And then we went to like the there like 5 and 6. And
Going
then,
back to your apartment?
yeah, we were heading back to our apartment. But I guess that must have. But I like back up. Is that right?
Oh, you're fine.
I just feel like I wanted to turn left. I like some. And like I was trying to go back the way we came, so I was trying to turn left, and I think it was on like the wrong side of the road. But I didn't have no idea.
Just turn left to down there.
Yeah, to go back down to Newell Avenue. But I don't really know what is happening.
You're from New York?
Yeah, how do you know? No, I just got here.
For school or what?
I just got here from college. Moved here for work. Yeah, New York, born and raised.
College, but
Only time I see Boston.
what do you do that?
I
What do you
studied-
What do you think you're?
I majored in mechanical engineering. Yeah. So now I'm working for Boeing.
Oh.
Thanks.
What do you do for that?
I'm working on the defense side, doing cables design. Yeah. I'd ask you what you do, but I feel like I already know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just got here a couple weeks ago, honestly.
So she just got there a couple of weeks ago, right? According to what she stated.
Right.
She seems a little nervous. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Maybe she doesn't understand. Do you think it could be the fact that there are now 3 officers there on a simple traffic stop? In your opinion, do you think she's nervous because there's 3 officers there, all with their lights on a simple traffic stop?
She doesn't look uncomfortable to me.
That doesn't look nervous to you.
No.
Okay. She's not having any problems with her balance, is she?
Not in this particular frame. Earlier, there may have been.
Oh, well, tell me when to stop, please.
When she leans back and she kind of catches herself on the car a little bit.
Okay, well, let's watch it.
Can I like back up? Is that kind of, oh, you're fine.
That's where she catches herself on the car? Are we watching the same video? Are you
That's
watching
what-
this
that-
video?
I said when she attempts to, like she was going to. That's what it looked like to me.
I guess that was not a. Can I like back up? Is that kind of, oh, you're fine.
That's her losing her balance, I guess?
That's what it looks like to me.
Instead of showing her hands like, can I back up? I don't have anything in my hands. Please don't be afraid of me.
I don't see where that would need to be part of that conversation. So
You don't think people get shot?
That's what it looks like to me.
You don't think people get shot?
Your Honor, objection. It's not relevant here.
I'll move on, Judge. But that's where you,
I think it's within cross-examination, but since you're gonna move on, go ahead and move on. Okay.
and just to be clear, at 3:36, when she takes her hands out of her pocket and shows them to the officer, you think she's losing her balance?
Mr. Alcantara, where do you see 3:36? I don't see it on the screen.
Right here, Judge. Can you see that?
No, are you kidding?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm the same way, Judge, except I'm like less than 12 inches away from my screen. I
Okay.
couldn't get any closer.
All right, good enough, but I couldn't see it and I still don't, but now that you pointed it out, I can make that out. Go ahead and proceed, please.
Okay. Oh, you're fine. Tell me when you think that she has an indication of intoxication like this one, nearly falling.
Well, sir,
I wanted to turn left to town. And like, I was trying to go back the way we came, so I was trying to turn left and I maybe was on like the wrong side of the road. But I didn't have no idea.
They turn left to the, down there.
Yeah, to go back down to Newell Avenue. But I don't really know why this happened.
You from New York?
Yeah, how do you know? Yeah, I just got here.
For school or work?
I just graduated from college. Moved here for work. Yeah, New York, born and raised.
How did you
I went to MIT in Boston.
go? What did you learn?
I studied.
What did you major in?
I majored in mechanical engineering. Yeah. So now I'm working for Boeing. Thanks.
What did you do now?
I'm working on the defense side, doing airline design. Yeah. I'd ask you what you do, but I feel like I already know. Yeah, just got here a couple weeks ago, honestly. Oh, very confused. Like, why is this such a big deal?
I guess I do.
She asked, why is this such a big deal? You don't think she's nervous. Now there's 4 cop cars there, all with their lights on, but you feel that she's not nervous.
I feel that she's comfortable and
She's comfortable. I'm just asking. I know. So your opinion is that a young lady late at night in a new city that she hasn't been in for more than 2 weeks being pulled over by 4 officers, all with their strobe lights on, that is now being detained for over 15 minutes is not going to be nervous.
well, I mean, depending on what she's done before that. I mean,
She's a mastermind. She graduated from MIT. She's
I know,
a
but
criminal.
if she hadn't done anything, why would she be nervous? I mean,
Are you kidding me?
yes, and why would she be nervous if that's the case? Doesn't make sense to me.
So you're not nervous today when you're testifying?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Covered. It's also here, the traffic officer. Yeah.
Hi, sir. Sorry, should I put on my mask?
No, speak for every part. Who's the?
We're heading back to our apartment.
So for 6 minutes and 30 seconds, besides that one time she almost fell and lost her balance, was she unsure as she stood there?
Besides the one time,
She almost lost her balance and fell down and almost died. That time, besides that time, did she have any problem with her balance?
no,
Did she have any problem with walking?
no,
She wasn't hesitant when she walked, was she?
no,
She didn't sway when she walked, did she?
not that I noticed.
On the video, not that anybody noticed. I'm just talking about what you saw in the video.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not talking about another time, just this video. I'm gonna specifically ask about this video, okay? This 6 minutes and 30 seconds, okay?
Okay.
Did she sway when she turned?
No,
Was she unsure of her footing? Except that one time she almost fell and hit the ground, except that
Okay.
time.
okay, no,
Was she hesitant when she turned?
no,
Was she swaying when she turned?
no,
Was she unsure when she turned?
no,
So you would agree with me, except that one time she almost fell down, that for 6 minutes and 30 seconds, she was standing there like a normal, non-intoxicated individual, correct?
yes,
And Officer Casper doesn't even arrive on the scene until 1:33 and 57 seconds later, which is 19 minutes after you initially pull her over, correct?
Yes.
During those 19 minutes, except for the time she almost fell down, she appeared like a normal, non-intoxicated individual, correct?
Yes.
And I want these rest of the questions, we're gonna exclude that time she almost had that tragic accident and fell down. During this period of time, you lacked probable cause to arrest her for DWI, correct?
I wasn't arresting her for
I didn't
DWI.
ask you if you were. I'm saying you as an officer lacked probable cause for these first 19 minutes to arrest her for DWI, correct?
I lacked probable cause, yes.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking, officer. I'm not
Yes.
trying to trick you. During this period of 19 minutes, the only sign of impairment was a traffic offense that you talked about and a possible odor of intoxicants, correct?
Yes.
Non-intoxicated people drive every day in San Antonio the wrong way. Would you agree with that statement?
No. I wouldn't say that's an everyday thing, sir.
Is it an often thing?
Depends on what you consider often, I guess, but it's
What
not
do
an
you
everyday.
consider often? Out of 365 days, how many times do you think one individual drives the wrong way in San Antonio? Out of 1.2 million people in the city, how many days of the year do you think people drive the wrong way? If any.
I have no idea, sir.
But it happens a lot, correct?
I can't attest to that, sir. I don't know.
Perfect. And she's only been there for 2 weeks, correct?
According to her, yes.
So according to her, she's not super familiar with the area, correct?
Yes.
You would agree with me that you need more than just a traffic infraction and a possible odor of intoxicants to arrest somebody for DWI, correct?
Can you say that again, sir?
You would agree with me that you would need more than just a traffic infraction to hold somebody for DWI.
More than just a traffic infraction to hold for DWI?
To hold somebody for suspicion of DWI. It can't be based just on a traffic infraction alone, correct?
No, not on just the traffic infraction, no.
Okay,
I would agree with that.
okay. Now, up to this point, 19 minutes into it, right? From what you've seen in the videos, right? And we'll watch another one, just in case.
Sure.
Besides the possible odor of intoxicants, did you see any other signs of impairment?
And
the time she almost fell down to her death?
yes.
Okay. Did you see any other signs of impairment?
No.
No slurred speech, correct?
No.
Very clear in her speech, correct?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. These were asked and answered previously.
Sustained.
Based on this video, she was polite, correct? Officer, she was polite in this video, correct?
Well, yes.
Was she rude in the video?
I don't know if you pick up on any other, connotations of what that may mean about being rude or, but you can definitely, for me, I can see some aggression there.
That was aggression to you? You're a San Antonio Independent School District officer, and that's aggression to you. Correct?
There was some there, sir. In my opinion.
What was aggressive?
The direction of her language and stuff. It was.
The direction of the.
I don't know. I didn't think it was.
Well,
when
you're
it-
making a very specific statement, pointing to a specific incident where she was
Okay.
aggressive.
When she was inquiring about what was happening, that was, I don't know. I thought it was kind of aggressive, but that's just me. So.
Oh, I just want to get this straight. As a citizen of the United States of America, just as a citizen, right? So I'm not able to inquire into any government official why they're doing what they're doing, or I will be seen as an aggressor.
No, I just.
So
The way-
she's not allowed to ask what's going on, and if she does, then she's aggressive.
I think it's not what, it's how, kind of.
So she said it in a manner like, "Hey, what the hell are you guys doing?" She said it in that manner.
Well, obviously she didn't say that, sir. I mean,
Well, what tone did she use?
that was just you asked me what my perception was, and that was my
I
perception.
know, but I'm asking you where it was.
And I told you, sir.
Well, what about it was aggressive? The tone, what tone did she use?
That was just my perception, sir.
What tone did she use that made you think she was aggressive?
I've already answered that, sir.
No, you haven't.
Proceed, Mr. Del Cueto.
Okay. I'm gonna now show you what I'm gonna mark. Oh, I would like to introduce defense exhibit number 7, which is Officer Pawlik's body worn camera into evidence at this time.
How do you spell Pawlik?
Pawelek.
Thank you. About how long is this gonna take, more or less?
It might take till 4:30, Judge.
It ain't gonna take till 4:30 today, because I have a meeting with the Dean of St. Mary's Law School at 4:30.
Can
You got maybe 10-15 minutes left before I'm gonna start getting ready
Okay.
and going.
that's fair, Judge.
We'll have to just carry it forward.
Okay. Let me see if I can finish with it. Okay, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as defense exhibit number 8.
You mentioned.
Sir, what's going on? Good. I was flat through the light, which I know you pulls up on the outside of the double lines, and I'm literally trying to tell Miss, you're in the wrong way, you're going the wrong way. And oh my God, and she's yelling and screaming, I'm like, okay, come on, you're going the wrong way. Okay. And then couple and just check on the scene.
Did you smell it?
Sort of smells like that.
So right there, you say it sort of smells like alcohol, correct?
Yes.
Not a distinct odor of alcohol. You said it sort of smells like alcohol, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is distinct the same as sort of smells? Are they synonyms?
Distinct is, I mean, it is what it is, sir. I mean, I can't change what distinct is. I mean, you know what I mean?
We'll keep playing
It's what it
it.
is.
No, I'm not sure.
And then you say you're not sure. Is that distinct? When you're not sure, is that the same? Is that the definition of distinct?
When you say not sure, it could be, another substance.
Like Red Bull?
Like what?
Red Bull?
I
Red
can't.
Bull. Red Bull.
No, sir.
Do you think you were smelling cantaloupes?
No.
Okay, distinct alcohol, a distinct odor of alcohol means what it means, right?
Right.
But here you say you don't know. That's not distinct, is it?
I'm just saying the scent of alcohol is what it is, sir. I mean, I don't know how to answer that other than the way I've answered it already.
Okay, I'll move on.
To the right, okay, so when he pulls up on the outside of the double lines, and I'm literally trying to tell him, this, you're in the wrong way, you're going the wrong way. And, oh my God, I'm just yelling and screaming, I'm like, okay, come on, you're going the wrong way. Okay. We're going to do a couple of, and, just check on the scene.
Did you smell anything?
Sort of smells like that.
Sort of smells like.
Not unless, that's exactly. It smelled like a little bit.
What made you think that you felt intoxicated?
I just smell it.
Okay. Anything else? Did you stay near a street store? Did you notice anything else? No, come on.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to introduce Defense Exhibit 8, which is an excerpt of Officer Casberg's body-worn camera.
State,
No objection.
no objection. Defense Exhibit 8 is admitted.
And Officer Harvey, when asked, you were not sure that it was alcohol, at least on 2 occasions when he asked you, correct?
That's correct.
Now, they sent out Officer Hernandez, correct? Are you familiar with TCOL?
Yes, sir.
What's TCOL?
What do you mean, what's TCOL?
What does it stand for? TCOL. You're kidding.
I'd have to, Texas, I'd have to look it up, sir. I'm sorry. I'm exhausted.
You were absolutely certain you saw what you saw
Yes, sir.
over a year ago, but TCOL, the organization you get your certification from and turn in all of your hours to, you don't know what the acronym stands for?
Yes, I do know what it stands for. I'm just
What
not,
does it
I'm
stand
tired.
for?
Sir, I work overnight. I'm been up all night, so I'm tired. I'm sorry. Forgive
So
me
the
for being,
answer is
forgive me for being.
you don't know. That's the answer.
I do know the answer.
You don't know right now.
I don't recall the answer right now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Tired.
I'm gonna show you a TCOL report. Okay, for Officer Hernandez, the first
Your
officer.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. This has nothing to do with Officer Harvey. It's not for him. It's not anything that he can testify to or has personal knowledge to.
I don't even have personal knowledge, Judge. I'm just introducing it, and then I'm gonna ask him if this guy could have done the SFSTs.
I'm sorry, give me that again, Mr. Del Cueto.
I'm introducing it pursuant to Rule 101 of the Texas Rules of Evidence, in particular E, which talks about 104 and says you're the exclusive judge to determine what comes in to evidence and what stays out of evidence during a motion to suppress, and that we can depend on hearsay under the Ford decision.
Okay, but what is the purpose of this particular?
To show that both officers that showed up prior to Officer Casberg showing up were both certified in the standardized field sobriety test, but neither one performed the SFSTs on this lead.
I think the state might be willing to stipulate to that. I'm not crazy about the idea, but state, these were 2 certified San Antonio police officers that were trained on the certifications or certified to perform their SFSTs.
Yes, Your Honor, and I'd be willing to stipulate to that fact. It's, again, I don't believe it's anything Officer Harvey can or should testify to.
Okay, Judge, then just for the record, I'm not going to introduce it, but Officer Hernandez and Officer Pawelek, at the time of this offense, which was November the 15th of 2020, were certified to perform and administer the standardized field sobriety test, and I'm fine with that.
Okay,
Okay, then I just have one last exhibit, Judge. This is the full length of Officer Casberg's report. okay? By his dash cam.
Your Honor, again, I'm going to object to this coming in through Officer Harvey. Officer Casberg is here, ready to testify. That would be a better witness for that to come in through. And Officer Harvey, again, won't have knowledge of the video and its contents.
I haven't heard him say that under oath. Let's see what, Mr. Zazqueta, you're gonna tie this together where it's not a duplication of what Casberg's gonna say?
No, Judge, I don't think so. And it'll be brief. It'll be like maybe 3 minutes, Judge.
All right, go ahead and proceed, but I might just strike it from the record if I feel like it.
That's fine, Judge. You have all the authority in the world, Judge.
All right.
I'm a mere pawn.
So for the record, the objection at this point is overruled with that proviso. Go ahead.
Okay, Judge, thank you. I'm just getting it to the point. Okay. I want you to look very carefully at these 9 cases.
Are you talking about an exhibit?
Yes,
What exhibit is it?
I'm about to show defense exhibit number 13, which is Officer Casberg's body-worn camera. I have moved it, body-worn camera, yes, Your Honor.
All right.
I have fast forwarded it to 6 minutes and 24 seconds. And I'm about to play it, if it please the court.
Go ahead.
I want you to look at her feet, Officer Harvey. Can you see?
Here's a small steps to turn like I'm showing you. It's gonna face you back the way you came, and then take 9 steps back. There we go. You're gonna stare at your feet, trying to step out loud. Do not stop the test till it's complete. Do you understand what I want you to do? You feel like you can do that? Yeah. Okay, do the best you can whenever you're ready, okay?
I want you to tell me when she misses touching heel to toe.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Like I showed you just now.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, well, you can stand back.
Does she ever miss heel to toe?
It appeared to on one of the last steps going the other direction.
I asked you to tell me to stop when she appears to miss heel to toe. We'll try it again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There,
That is missing heel to toe?
no, next one. Further back, back,
That is missing heel to toe.
yes.
This black on black is missing heel to toe.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I showed you just now.
1,
That was another one.
Okay. Where?
Back. Back. Okay.
I know she's not missing touching heel to
No,
toe.
no, no.
You have to turn around.
No, I'm not talking about that. Forward, if you go forward, yeah.
That.
I can't see her feet now.
We'll just say you can't see her feet. So you don't
No,
know.
I can't see her feet because of the way the screen's displayed. For whatever reason. I don't know what's changed, but I can't see the bottom of her feet now. I didn't change anything on my screen.
I didn't change anything on my screen. Can you see her feet now?
If you could, I don't know, lower it a little bit more to where it was, because like I said, I'm not seeing what I was seeing
Now?
before.
Right
I don't know
there?
if the picture's been enlarged or what, but it's not showing me the same thing. Before we could see the whole line the whole time.
Okay, now?
I can't see it, sir.
Now,
I still can't see the line, sir.
you can, okay, Judge, can you see the line?
Yeah, not completely, about 1/4 of the way from the left, it touches the black part of the screen of the,
Yes. I'm not doing anything.
all right,
Let me do it one more time. Let me try this, Judge. Now?
It's still, yeah.
I'll just move on, Judge. So Laura Lee was there 19 minutes before she started even getting evaluated for DWI. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, sir.
And before those 19 minutes, the only signs of intoxication that you saw was a traffic offense and the potential odor of intoxicants, correct?
Yes.
Ask the witness.
we're gonna have to wait for this cross-examination, because I'm gonna continue the hearing. Patricia, give us another afternoon.
Yes. How soon, Judge?
Mr.
Judge,
Del Cueto.
If you would do me a favor, Judge, just because I invoked the rule, if the prosecutor could not speak to Officer Casper regarding what was shown today and the questions and answers that Officer Harvey provided, I would appreciate it.
Judge, do you need me to stop the video, stop YouTube